the recent delineation of electoral wards by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in Warri has stirred controversy, with many locals questioning the fairness and transparency of the process. Critics argued that the changes could potentially alter the political landscape, giving undue advantage to certain groups or political parties ahead of upcoming elections. The new boundaries, which have split some established wards and merged others, have been met with backlash from both residents and political stakeholders. Some fear the move could disenfranchise voters or dilute the influence of certain communities, particularly in areas with complex ethnic and political dynamics. INEC, however, defends the decision, stating that the adjustment was necessary to ensure a more accurate representation in the electoral process. As tensions rise, the controversy surrounding the delineation highlights the delicate balance between fair electoral practices and the influence of local politics in Warri. Environmentalist and indigenous ethnic minority rights activist Ojumude Tosan Bishop now joins us to discuss the recent delineation of wards by INEC in Warri and the controversies it is generating. It's good to have you with us, and of course, Easter greetings to you, Tosan. So what are your thoughts about this delineation, and do you... Very good. Do you have confidence in this delineation? And it's been generating a lot of arguments, controversies. What are your thoughts?
First of all, happy Easter to all Nigerians. My thought on this delineation exercise is very simple. There is no confidence in it. And I strictly put it across that this issue is a default from the government and our agencies. It has been long, not just today. Years after years, the Nigerian government and our agency had, in one way or the other, minimized trust on them. They minimize trust and act corruptively. I don't really know. There is a lot of abnormal in their activities. And this affects mostly the minorities. I'm a minority rights activist, and I'm looking at that angle. How the Nigerian government and our agencies had nonchalantly, over time, acted in manners that undermine indigenous ethnic minorities that are integral parts of the Nigerian state. And this INEC ward delineation is one of them. Just as same thing as the National Boundary Commission altering landmarks in Warri is one of them. So at this point, a lot of persons want to push this issue into ethnic conflicts between the Chekiris of Warri and their neighbors. But to me, as a rights activist, minority rights activist to be precise, I don't see that manner from that angle. I see it as the Nigerian government lapses, not just this government, but government over time.
Well, if you look at some of the issues that have been arising from this delineation, you'd see that INEC's proposal is looking like they are ignoring the voter population data and the historical context. But would you consider this a form of disenfranchisement, or do you think that perhaps it is to create some form of new structure in the political areas in the community?
Yes, that is a fact. That is the target of INEC. This issue we are talking about today started back in, let's say, the Warri crisis. The INEC of today and the National Population Commission, they are trying to solidify the wrongs that were done during the crisis. After the crisis, the Nigerian government had failed to reintegrate and resettle the Shekiri people that were displaced unlawfully. Till date, unfortunately, those places, they actually chase us out from, that the government is here to resettle us back to, have finally been, in one way or the other, gazetted to be that of other ethnic groups, the Ijaw to be Pacific, and that of the Urhobos in our own homeland. So INEC is actually, I don't want to go into the historical context because a lot of my people have done that, but I'm looking at this issue critically well from the angle of the Nigerian government undermining minorities because they want the crude oil to flow, they want the resources in the Niger Delta, which is the Warri people providing to flow. They just want peace to be there. So whoever that is able to show strength, they're able to work with they will work with the person, they will do what the person wants. So before I go further, I would like to explain the concept of indigenous ethnic minority. Nigerians see it from an angle as an insult, but it's not insult. Once you are indigenous, it means that time immemorial, you had been there before the coming of modernization. The Shekiri had been there. Shekiri is the Warri Kingdom is a country of our own. Yes, we are minorities in the Nigeria state, but in Warri Federal Constituency, we are not, because that is our homeland. The concept of indigenous minority is not just a thing of today. Even in the national, international fora, you are seeing organizations and other national governments trying to protect their minority. In fact, even in Nigeria specifically, in the Midwestern region, the Constitution carries protection of our minorities, and it's called Special Area Provision. That Constitution is 1963 Constitution. It was designed to protect the minorities such as the Akoko Edo people, the Western Ijaw, which is today Bamodi people, the Chekiri, and the Usoko people. So INEC, on our own part, decided to start creating communities through the word delineation. In fact, if you go through INEC's coordinates, you will find out that some of the communities' names had never existed before. You will find out that some of the coordinates appear that the voting units are on top of water. You find out that even Edo State and Edo State and Ondo State are cut. Villages and settlements in those places are cut into Warri North in Delta State. So the Edo State government is not even aware of this. The Ondo State government is not even aware of this. So the INEC on its own had blatantly done blunders.
All right, Tosun, irrespective of the controversies and of course the outcry this delineation has generated, INEC still wants to have its way. Then what happens next?
Before now, according to a colleague of mine, I'll say my header, who was at the INEC office in Asaba, where the document was presented, the banner was carrying final reports, but when INEC saw the retaliation, they changed it to proposal, or they are still consulting, they start coming out with flimsy excuse. This is it. When you continue to push people to the wall, they will definitely want to react. When you continue to submerge rights of minorities, they will definitely want to go into agitation. That is what we saw recently. What we saw recently in Warri had not happened before. It has never happened for a very long time, where you saw people taking to the streets to protest. In fact, everybody were actually out in a location they know is important to the Nigerian government or the multinational to show their displeasure. In MPA area in Warri, for 4 days you see children, men, women, youth at the MPA gates for about 4 days. Even they submerge at the Nigeria gas infrastructure on the 4th day. The Nigerian military have to use force. Instead of coming in to ask the problem to try to quell down the situation, to provide solution, they try to use force. These things were there, they are there in public space. You can go to my Facebook page, you see it live, where we are being shot at. I was part of the protest. This is not something we used to do before now. So, whether we like it or not, INEC is trying to create excuse where there is not. All the proposal by the Shekiri people was not accepted by INEC. And that of the Ijaws were accepted. For instance, You see somewhere like in Warri side, there were no Ijos at all. It just surfaced. How the Ijos in Warri side came to be? During the crisis, the mercenaries brought from Bomadi and Patani, which is Western Ijaw of then sub-Western region.
All right, Tosan.
And Bayelsa,
We do hope that
yeah,
we do hope that INEC listens to the voice of the people and that reasonable resolution is reached at the end of the day, because the people matter when it comes to political issues. Thank you so much for your time on the show, Ojumode Tosan, Bishop, right activist. Thank you for your time on the show.